Hi, Belinda. So rather than sending you a really long email with all kinds of images and arrows in there, I decided to make a really quick video to show you some solutions to the question you had for us yesterday about the best ways to find the top authors in those subject areas you're looking for, like, say, dental caries in adolescents. So the first thing I would do, there are a couple of different web tools you can use that are going to be useful. So the first thing I would do, I would just go, there's a website called PubMed PubReminer. And what this does is that it's going to go look at the entire PubMed data set and try to do some kind of analyses for you. So the first thing I would do in this case, it's not going to work in this particular case the first time. I'm going to show you kind of what I want to do. I'm going to change this abstract limit here to the biggest number it lets me do in this case, which is 10,000. And then do my first search for your kind of topic, that dental caries in adolescents. So you just type in your natural language term here the way you'd normally describe this thing. You just always want to capitalize your ands or ors, the Boolean operators you use here. And just do a search. So it tells me in this case, I did the search a couple of minutes ago, there's actually, you can see 10,681 citations. So I'm just going to change this to the maximum number. It lets me do 25,000 and then run that search again. So I'm not going to look at the entire result because it's going to take probably a few minutes to do this. But the interesting thing, it starts to go through all the articles in PubMed and it pulls out different information about those papers. But you can see the one we're interested in here is author. So of the 10,600 citations in PubMed, 69 papers on dental caries in adolescents are written by this T.M. Marthaler. So I would say, just based on that analysis in PubMed, he or she is the top author in PubMed on this particular topic, dental caries in adolescents. If I waited a few minutes for this to finish populating, which I'm not going to do, it's going to take 5 minutes, I could click on this link and see every paper he or she has written. So maybe you just want to see, again, knowing that that's the top person, but are they really writing about some aspect of the topic you find interesting? The second way you can do this, which might be the easier and faster, but it may not be the most accurate way, is to use Web of Science. And that may have been the way I did it before when you saw me give a presentation. To get to Web of Science, you can just go to our library homepage. I have a bookmark here, obviously, but it's just bumc.bu.edu/medlib, or you could just Google BU Medical Library and just click here to get into Web of Science. So Web of Science, you can see I did the search just a second ago too. So just from the basic search page right here, I would just type in the exact same regular phrase I'm searching for, dental caries in adolescents. So you don't have to worry about anything else, just exactly in that box, basic search, and then click on search right here. So it's going to pull back these results for us. So PubMed found about 10,600 citations. Web of Science only finds 1,700, so Web of Science is not looking in as many dental journals as PubMed. But I think the overall trend here is going to be okay. So there are a few things you can do from Web of Science here. So you can see I've already sorted this by time cited. By default, it's just going to look like this. When you get this result back the first time, it's just going to be by date, so the newest thing at the top. But I can click here on time cited to see, of all the 1,700 papers on dental caries in adolescents, which are the most cited. So this paper here is the most cited one at 272 times. So that's going to show you the sort of people who have been cited the most often in that area, but not who writes there most often. And interesting here is that Marthaler, we just saw in the PubMed search, has the number 2 most cited paper on this topic. But I think to make the same kind of comparison, who publishes the most in this area, if I click here on Analyze Results, so again, this is what Web of Science is trying to give us more information about those particular records that come back. I have these options here on the left-hand side. If I click on Authors, I can see that it's going to show me these are the top 10 authors in that particular field. And then, so here's D. Burkhead, here's A. Sheeman, and here's S. Twetman, the top 3, and even S.M. Pavia. I've seen these names doing these searches before. But it's interesting to me, if we go back to PubMed PubReminer for a second, so Marthaler, who PubMed points out as the most cited author at 69 citations, doesn't even show up here in the top 10, which is interesting. So it's not quite as accurate doing it on the Web of Science, but it's certainly easier. And I'd say, too, to be fair, that the overall trend is still pretty good, though, because the number 1 author here in Web of Science is Burkhead, 2 is Sheeman, 3 is Twetman. If I go back over here to PubMed, so Burkhead, Schreeman, and Twetman are all in the top 5 in PubMed. So again, I don't see that A.J. Spencer here in this list. So it's not looking in all the same journals that PubMed is looking, but at least the overall trend is the same. So I would say that these four authors are definitely in the top 10 in PubMed. So if it's easier to do this kind of search in Web of Science instead of PubMed, I think the overall conclusion is probably going to be pretty accurate that those are the most cited authors on whatever sort of specific topic that you're looking for. If you have any questions, if you'd like want me to show you this in person, or if you'd like us to do some of these searches for you and just send you the results, just give me a call or send me an email.